Hey everyone, welcome to Victoria Takes on Sweets. In this video, I want to talk about something that's a little controversial in the baking community, and that is simple syrup on cakes. When I first started decorating and baking cakes, I would notice sometimes my cakes would be a little dry. I noticed that usually with the cakes that I took a little bit more time to decorate, and so I started using simple syrup on my cakes, and I noticed right away that they retained the moisture throughout the decorating process and just tasted better to me. Now, I say it's controversial because some bakers are all for it and some are totally against it. Some even say that if you use simple syrup in your cakes, that means that your cakes are dry, and it means that they don't taste good. So today, I've made two cakes, one cake with simple syrup and one cake without, and I'm just gonna be taste testing it and seeing what the differences are. Now, before I taste test anything, I wanna talk about what simple syrup is. It's just basically equal parts water with equal parts sugar that you heat up until the sugar has fully dissolved. And then you have yourself a syrup, which can be used on cakes, it can be used in drinks and cocktails, but we're just gonna go ahead and focus on the cake today. Now, I usually don't use simple syrup on my cakes if I'm gonna be serving them right away the same day, or if I've baked the cakes with oil. A lot of times I feel like cakes baked with oil are already super moist, and so I typically don't use them on oil-based cakes. Now, when should you apply simple syrup to a cake? I usually apply it to my cakes right before I'm going to stack, fill, and frost them. So I just sprinkle some on the cake. You don't want to put too much because then your cakes will become soggy, and nobody wants a soggy cake. But yeah, right before I fill and stack them, I will apply the simple syrup. If your cake layers are frozen, I would recommend letting them thaw out completely and then adding the simple syrup to the cake. Now, how I usually apply simple syrup to my cake layers, I either use a pastry brush or a squeeze bottle. I prefer a squeeze bottle just because I feel like you get a more uniformed application to the cakes, and I just think it's a lot easier. So that's just my preference. Let me show you really quick how I make simple syrup. All right, so I am going to pour 2 cups of sugar and 2 cups of water into my pot. You can use whatever ratio you'd like, just make sure that they are equal parts. Okay, now you want to turn the stove on to about a medium low to low heat. You want to cook this slowly, not too fast. And then you're just going to stir it until the sugar completely dissolves. You'll know that it's completely dissolved when it turns from this cloudy liquid to clear. And it usually takes me about 5 minutes or so. So as you can see, it's starting to become clear. And it's starting to bubble just on the edges, and that's as far as you want to go. You don't want it to become a full boil because then the syrup will start to crystallize. So at this point, you're done. You just go ahead and turn off the heat and just let it set and cool down for a little bit. I like to let mine cool before I pour it into the bottles. Now, I do pour it into a measuring glass. It just makes it easier for me to go ahead and pour into the bottles. Now, these bottles I got off of Amazon. They're 18-ounce glass bottles, and they work perfectly for my simple syrup. So I will go ahead and link these in the description below so that if you guys want to try them out, you can. And that's it. Just place into the refrigerator until it cools completely, and then it's ready to use. Very simple. All right, let's go ahead and start with the cake that is made without simple syrup. Very moist. Tastes good. Tastes just like a really good vanilla butter cake. So I am pleasantly surprised with that. All right. Now the one that I did add simple syrup to. It's still very good. I can taste a slight difference. But nothing like of significance. They're both very good. I really can't almost even tell the difference. I'm surprised because I've been using simple syrup on my cakes now for quite some time, just as like a safety blanket to make sure that my cakes are moist when I give them to my clients. And this actually really surprises me and kind of makes me happy to know that my cakes without simple syrup are still moist even after the process. Now, obviously I didn't decorate these cakes, you know, very intricately, but I did put them through the same process as I usually do with the cakes that I bake for my customers. I put them in the freezer, I took them out, I put them in the refrigerator, took them out, put them back in the refrigerator, let them set for hours, then pulled them out, let them set at room temperature, and now we're tasting them. So I am really happy to know that either way I go, the cakes are good. It's not overly moist, it's not wet and soggy on this one, and it's not dry, and still has really good taste. So I guess my final thoughts on this would be, do whatever makes you happy. If you want to add simple syrup to your cakes, do it. If you don't, as long as you have a good recipe, you should be okay. This is a from scratch cake. I do sometimes make doctored box cakes, but this does show me that it's not necessary, but if I do, it doesn't hurt. It still does add a slight bit of moisture, but I could do either one, and I think I would come out with a good product. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you thought that it was helpful, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I guess I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye.